welcome back to everybody who's watching live right now. Encourage you guys as we start to like and share the episode, get the word out. Let's talk about some news. You guys ready? All right, now listen to this. A Christian printer in England refused to print business cards for a transgender woman. It's another one of those situations, and good for him. Imagine, guys, if he did. This would have actually been the first time that a man allowing a woman to literally have a man card. Man card. Now, a customer was arrested for pouring hot nacho cheese on a 7-Eleven worker. When she was rushed to the hospital, she wasn't treated for burns, though. No burns. She was treated for food poisoning. 7-Eleven cheese. Now, girls are now allowed to join the Boy Scouts. Let me say that again. Girls are now allowed to join the Boy Scouts. With this new policy, a new badge comes out that only the girls can earn during any activity. And it's called the You're Doing It Wrong badge. And every girl that joins automatically gets a good cooking badge. Hillary Clinton, again, is in the news, and she was in the UK on a book tour to promote her book, What Happened? When she tripped and fell down some stairs. Now, when people asked why she tripped, Hillary said, in usual form, "Didn't you read my book? The stairs made me trip. It's never my fault. Ever." Taco Bell just launched a limited edition clothing line with Forever 21. Taco Bell. So that way, it will be more than drunk people wearing their food. The White House was on lockdown today after a suspect tried to jump the fence. Guys, don't worry though. It was just Eric Trump trying to get his dad's approval and attention. And finally, Game of Thrones star Lena Headey said that Harvey Weinstein made sexual advances on her. Very serious situation. Everybody's talking about it. And when she was asked for further comment, she replied, hang on guys, I don't have time to talk. I gotta go shoot this nude scene for Game of Thrones. Speaking of that, a new hashtag is trending right now. Very serious stuff. It's called #MeToo. And this is, of course, because of the recent controversy about the sexual assault and the advances, the accusations made against Weinstein. It's actually a very important moment for us as a culture. What we tend to do as a culture is, one, treat victims of sexual abuse and trauma and rape. We tend to treat them with a lesser form of justice. We don't actually highlight them as victims. We diminish really the pain and the trauma and the evil of sexual assault and rape by not actually giving just penalties to rapists and sexual predators. And that's a really important thing. In biblical law, somebody that actually engages in the rape of a woman has done something so disgraceful, so wicked, that it's actually deserving of capital punishment. And in our society today, what we tend to do is actually treat rapists like it's really not that big of a crime. So I'll give you an example. When I was in high school, the girl that I was actually seeing in high school, she was raped in her bathroom during her birthday party by a stranger. This man was captured, he was convicted, he was in fact guilty, and he was actually released in a matter of months after committing a rape. And so what we do in our society is we diminish really the horrific nature of rape and sexual assault by not giving just penalties. Ecclesiastes chapter 8 says this, "When the sentence of justice is not executed speedily, the heart of man is emboldened to do wickedness." No justice means more evil in society. So because we don't stand on biblical standards of justice, we actually lose justice in society. And another way we go in our culture and society today is we say something like this: well, if an accusation is made about sexual assault and rape, just believe. Doesn't matter if there's any evidence, it doesn't matter if there's proof, you just believe it. And so we really diminish the value of justice in terms of actually receiving any accusation. Now, if we held to biblical standards of justice, we would believe Deuteronomy 17:1, Deuteronomy 19:15, Matthew chapter 18, 2 Corinthians 13:1. These are texts that say this: you don't receive any accusation unless it's on the basis of 2 to 3 witnesses. Now, in the modern time, that would mean you'd need at least 2 to 3 independent lines of witness and testimony to bring a charge against somebody. You can't just receive an accusation. However, according to biblical standards, if you have those 2 to 3 independent lines of witness and testimony, then you can bring a charge, and then biblically, holding to those standards of justice, you can actually protect the victim, highlight the justice that needs to be done when people abuse women. That's it for right now, guys. This is Next Week with Jeff Durbin. I'm Jeff Durbin. Like and share the episode. We'll see you right after this quick break. Thank you guys very, very much. See you soon. Everybody who's watching live right now across social media. It's time for the Blend of the Week. Are you guys ready? This week's Blend of the Week is it's interesting. It's called the CNN Cappuccino. It's coffee that Alcoholics Anonymous likes to drink instead of alcohol, and Donald Trump likes to call it fake booze. All right, guys, let's do this. Are you ready? Fake booze. This was going to be an interesting one tonight, everybody. Tonight, we're going to talk about conspiracy theories, also known as the dark side of dem internets. Now, when you think of conspiracy theories, you tend to think of these kinds of people.
See, I don't think that Atlantis sank. I think Atlantis lifted off.
That's right. The man on History Channel who thinks everything's a conspiracy. And he says it like a kid trying to come up with an excuse to get out of trouble. See, I don't think the trash bag stayed in the kitchen. I think it walked back in. See, look, it's easy to think that only weird people have conspiracy theories, but what if I told you that you might be sitting next to a conspiracy theorist? What if I told you that you might actually be a conspiracy theorist? Now, new statistics show that around 50% of Americans believe in at least one conspiracy theory. So that's 33 in every 66 people. And if you add one more 6, you're looking at the mark of the beast, which can only mean that that statistic is of the devil. And that, by the way, is how a conspiracy is formed. Conspiracies are when somebody believes in something that has really little to no evidence and sometimes can be disproved even altogether. Take, for instance, the conspiracy that Obama was not born in the U.S. Okay? Now, whatever you think of that, even after Hawaii released his birth record, people said that the hospital was actually in on it. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't trust anything that Obamacare does either. But I doubt that Gilda the nurse took a class on fraud to pull one over on the country. Now, it's easy to believe in conspiracy theories, right? And sometimes it's tempting, especially when famous people back it up. Take, for instance, this guy.
Some people ask me, you know, if the Earth is flat, man, like, are the other planets flat? Are the stars flat too? You can't hold on to old, obsolete beliefs that you've been taught. Like, everything that you've been taught is a lie.
Now, that was the rapper B.O.B., who believes that the earth is just like his lyrics, flat. He believes it so, got him, okay. He believes it so much that he's raising money to try and prove it. And the only conspiracy that I can see here is that his name, B.O.B., spells Bob. Now, listen, over the years, flat earthers have come out of the woodwork. It is absolutely stunning. We actually thought initially that it was a joke held by very few people. So Apologia Radio, Apologia TV, we did episodes on it. And we have never gotten so many comments on any video ever. Surprisingly, a lot of people actually do believe that the earth is flat. But don't take my word for it. Take this guy's.
and that's because there ain't no curvature. Rail tracks on the flat, no curve, you got nerve. Wolf packs give flack, then backtrack. You're sacked, and that's because there ain't no curvature.
That's the most awful thing I've ever seen in my life. Now, look, why was B.O.B. not a part of that delightful song? Right? I mean, this is as good as the song Friday, that famous song Friday by Rebecca Black.
Friday, Friday, getting down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend.
Hey, Flat Earthers. She's been driving for a while. How is she not falling off the edge of the earth by now? Now, look, back to that guy's rap. I love the way he proves that there isn't a curvature by pointing out things that prove that there is a curvature. I mean, you can only see railroad tracks for so far when they actually bend with the earth. Flat Earthers are giving our planet the same lie that they believe after eating all the food in the holidays. And you're not round at all. That was a good one, guys. Okay. It's not just flat earthers that have a strange conspiracy. It's been said that 12 million Americans believe that lizard people run our country. 12 million! Now, did you get that? Like, if you don't believe in total depravity, there's your proof, okay? Now, if you need me to scale that back a little, pun intended, 12 million people are a lot of people to believe that lizards can do anything more than sit in a glass aquarium. Now, as it turns out, it's not just our American citizens that believe this. People all around the world have this belief, including the leading voice in the conspiracy, David Icke.
In simple terms, there is a predator race which take a reptilian form. They're feeding off humanity. They've turned humanity into a slave race. They demand human sacrifice. That's where Satanism comes in. They feed off human energy, particularly feed off the energy of children.
Okay, look, before we address anything in the video, I gotta ask, why are they having a conversation at a beach? I mean, it looks like you just interrupted a medicine commercial, right? Like, ask your doctor about Celebrix today. Side effects include cough, runny nose, drippy bottom, and believing that the leaders of the free world could be your reptile pet Herbie. Love those commercials. Also, look at the guy who's interviewing David. Now look, guys, I don't know what lizard people look like, but he looks like one of them. David, get out of there! They got you! Now, the more I think about it, it seems that some people do actually look like a reptile. Maybe some celebrities are actually reptiles. I'm on to you, Lizard Lohan. Now, David, I'm glad you like that, Luke. Okay. Now, David Icke has written volumes of books about this subject. And before you jump on board and become an actual lizard believer, you may want to know this little fact about him.
He was a television celebrity. After arthritis had ended a promising career in football, he'd become a broadcaster. But that all ended in one remarkable appearance on The Terry Wogan Show.
David Icke.
In a turquoise tracksuit, he'd announced that he was the Son of God, and the world would be ending that year.
What? This man said he was the Son of God, but also has arthritis. That's like the number one qualification of being the Son of God, not having arthritis. And look, he said the world would end in 1991, which the world ending is actually a huge conspiracy as well. Apocalyptic predictions have been going on since long before all of us were born. Take this, for example, the third eagle of the apocalypse and the co-prophet of the end times, William.
And did you happen to count the number of deviled eggs? Well, there are 16 of them. And 16 is not really an end times number. I mean, you could add 6 plus 1, which gives you 7, but that's not really satanic. 16 deviled eggs are made from 8 whole eggs. But 8 is also not really a number associated with evil. But if you understand that you count eggs by the dozen, that is by the number 12, and you realize that 8/12 of a dozen is 2/3 of a dozen, then we indeed do have a number for the Antichrist. Because 2/3 represents man over God and yields the decimal 0.666.
Wow, he just got the number 666 from deviled eggs. Deviled eggs, people! Anybody can do that. If, for example, a train leaves for Phoenix at 4:17 p.m. and train B leaves at 9:13 p.m., and if you only do Common Core math, then both trains will arrive at approximately 6:66 p.m. Now, look, even Jesus addressed this in Mark 13:32 by saying that nobody knows the day or the hour, not even the angels in heaven or the Son of God, only the Father. Now, I wonder if every time someone guesses, it's now definitely not that answer. Like a parent is trying to surprise their kids, going to Disneyland. Hey, where are we going? It's a surprise. Is it Disneyland? No, Walmart. And these conspiracy theories, they're all just the tip of the iceberg. It's just the tip of the iceberg. There's subtle things that people get hung up on. Very, very subtle things, right? Like, I'm not even sure quite what to think about it. Oh yeah, hand motions, right? Hand motions. Now, people watch hand motions like a hawk, which is mysterious also because hawks watch hand motions, so those people are actual hawks. Just recently, Prince Harry met with the First Lady, and he made this sign during a photo op.
Yeah.
All right, granted, 16 seconds is a little more mysterious. So that gives us three possibilities, right? One, either he just discovered a very comfortable hand position which could totally transform the way every man stands, right? Or two, he could be giving the devil sign, which most people believe, making him a part of the Illuminati. Or three, and I think most realistically, he's actually part of the LA gang, the Latin Kings. When it comes down to it, there are conspiracy theories after conspiracy theories. There's even a theory that the movie Conspiracy Theory was a good movie. So where should Christians stand on the issue? Isaiah 8, verse 12 says, don't call everything a conspiracy like they do, and don't live in dread of what frightens them. There's passages like that. I mean, these worries and paranoid investigations cause distractions from the real purpose of living on earth, which is to glorify God and to walk in truth. And that's not a conspiracy, guys. That's just a biblical reality. And even worse, some conspiracy theories actually are harmful. They diminish really the value of the pain, and they completely forget the victim, and it's wrong. It's actually wrong to delegitimize a tragedy for some stupid conspiracy. Now just consider that the biblical worldview teaches us that Jesus, John 14:6, is the embodiment of truth. I am the way and the truth and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. And as Christians, we're supposed to be people who are most committed to the actual truth. We have a worldview that makes sense of that. We have a worldview which makes sense of science and logic and ethical absolutes. We have a worldview that makes sense of justice. We actually have meaningful biblical standards as to how we're supposed to receive an accusation or believe something. Christians are supposed to be the most critically minded people in the world. So let's take a deep breath and realize that some of these things, even if they are true, don't take away from the fact that God is the creator of all things, including lizard people. And He sent His Son to die on the cross, to live a perfect life, to rise again from the dead, so all who turn from sin to trust in Him would receive forgiveness and salvation. Amen. And also, Bigfoot is real. We'll be right back, guys, with our guest. Stay with us, Sam McLure, right here on Next Week with Jeff Durbin. Don't forget to like and share the episode. Stay with us.
Enjoying the show? You can also enjoy Apologia All Access. For only $9.99 a month, you're able to get into shows, after shows, Apologia Academy, all sorts of amazing, great stuff. And you're going to want to log on. Like I said, it's only $9.99 a month. It's the same price as a cup of coffee. Wait, am I reading that right? A cup of coffee? There's no way that script is right. Who buys coffee for $9.99? Who's buying a $10 cup of coffee? This cup of coffee I stole from a man. There's a way that you can get around life without $10 for a cup of coffee. That doesn't make any, if you are spending $10 for your cup of coffee, you are spending the wrong amount of money in your life. Your whole life is disarray. You need to rethink your entire life. Trust me. Take that $10, like how much foam did you get on that cup of coffee? Take that $10, go use it just once for this month and get Apologia All Access. Then learn to buy a $5 cup of coffee. I think we're growing here. Apologia All Access. Right now. Sign up. Buy coffee a little better.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us again for Next Week with Jeff Durbin. Welcome back, everybody. So as you all know, the heartbeat of this show is End Abortion Now. You can go to endabortionnow.com to get free resources and get free training to join us as we speak consistently with a Christian message in the area of abortion across our nation. We just returned from Ireland. We're dropping a lot of content at Apologia Studios on YouTube and on our Facebook channel. You guys can see some of that right now on the page. We have one of our friends to talk about some more local stuff. We have Sam McLure. He actually is running now for Attorney General in the state of Alabama. Sam, welcome to Next Week.
Hey guys, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So Sam, Slate did an article and they said that you are one of the creepiest anti-abortionist men right now. What do you think of that?
Wow, what a badge of honor. No, that's a real badge of honor. There's exciting things happening in Alabama. Just this morning, actually, there was a rally at Birmingham's Planned Parenthood, the last abortion clinic in Alabama, to shut it down because of these horrific health code violations. So if people that profit from deceiving parents to kill their children, and if people that profit from that kind of thing, if they want to call me whatever that was, I'll wear it as a badge of honor.
Well, absolutely. One of the creepiest anti-abortionist men, and I wonder why they find you creepy, Sam. I would guess that it's because that you are actually fighting against abortion in a consistent way, calling it what it actually is and working to actually end it, to criminalize it, to abolish it once and for all in your state. And so, Sam, tell us what's going on right now. You're running for Attorney General in the state of Alabama, and let me just ask you, what for?
Yeah, so getting into politics was definitely not like what I set out in my career field to do. Actually, my wife and I wanted to be missionaries, and that's why we went to law school, to have an avenue to be a tent maker in some part of the world where Christ was less known. But through the process of adopting my oldest son and opening my law firm, and just little by little, really through, and mostly through the pro-life advocacy route, just got more experience in politics. And I woke up one day and I thought, man, I'm probably going to raise my children and grandchildren here. And so it became really clear that the Office of Attorney General, which is like the top prosecutor of the state, became really clear that that office, if it desired to, if the Attorney General desired to eradicate legal abortion, he or she absolutely could. And so that's why we're doing it. And when everything gets foggy in the campaign and people start throwing stuff at me proverbially, what is clear through the fog is that the Attorney General's office can absolutely save the lives or eradicate legal abortion. There's people like the abortion clinic owner in Tuscaloosa, the Roll Tide capital of college football. That's the most prolific abortion clinic in Alabama. 13 children die there every business day. $2.3 million in revenue is brought in every year through that abortion clinic. And I think we can shut that down through a couple of ways, Jeff. And, we're glad that people, at the U.S. Congress level, House of Representatives, are doing this 20-week abortion ban. These kind of incrementalist strategies I've worked on in our state legislature, but we think we can just knock it out of the park by first strictly enforcing current regulations. And that was the rally we had in Birmingham today at the Planned Parenthood. We have pro-life leaders from different parts of the country come in to expose the list of health code violations that are egregious. And I don't know if this is the same in Arizona, but if this was a McDonald's, you wouldn't want to eat there. Like blood on the chair, and I think things like the roofs falling in, and the same sponge being used time after time. And so, we don't want to make abortion safe. We want to end abortion now. And I used your hashtag today when I was posting about it. But if we can just strictly enforce those current regulations, the law, make these clinics follow the law, we think we can run them out of the state. The second thing, Jeff, that I think is crucial we have to do, Aristotle said that statecraft is soulcraft. And what's crucial we have to do is remove the abortion exceptions out of the homicide statute. So in Alabama, our legal system has said that Roe v. Wade doesn't apply to medical malpractice. If a medical doctor, because of negligence, kills a child in the womb, he can be sued for malpractice. It doesn't apply to chemical endangerment. A mother that takes heroin during pregnancy can be prosecuted for criminal chemical endangerment, and it doesn't apply to double homicide. And so we're almost, I'm pretty sure the last one's true, but we're almost getting to that point where our court systems want to say, hey, you know what? It just doesn't even apply at all. It doesn't apply to the abortion realm either. And so we want to be able to prosecute people for murder who profit from deceiving parents, that the way out of their problems is to have an abortion, to kill their child.
You know, it's interesting, Sam, you, I think, are such a danger to those who would advocate for the death of children on demand for whatever reason. I think because you're wanting to fight against this consistently, the pro-life movement has consistently for the last 40 years sort of tried to trim around the edges and not get to really the heart of the issue. And what you're working towards ultimately is to completely abolish abortion in the state of Alabama. And I think that's what makes you such a danger. Let me ask you about that in terms of consistency and what makes you such a dangerous man, I think in a righteous kind of way. Talk to us about consistency and consistently fighting against abortion. What are we trying to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got to look at two things historically. One, God's people have always been involved in caring for the orphan, the at-risk child. If you look at that Greek word in James 1:27, when James says that pure religion is partly composed of caring for the orphan, that Greek word orphanos, I think if you try to interpret that rightly, it means that a child left without adequate familial provision and protection from evil. And so from the first book of the Bible written, Job, in Job 31, where he's talking about the fatherless has been with me, all right, all the way through the early church, you can look at the early church fathers that are fighting against abortion. So this isn't something new. You look at Molech, child sacrifice. You know, if you take into consideration Francis Schaeffer's postmodern, what are the gods we're serving as personal peace and influence? We're fighting against the quote right of parents to kill their children at the altar of personal peace and influence. And I pointed somebody the other day to one of your videos on the practice of Satan worship and abortion. And the satanic cult of, I think it's Ohio, is fighting against abortion restrictions because they say it's against our worldview that life begins at conception. And so really, right. I think we need to kind of be shocked into an awakeness where we realize that I don't know that there's any law or law enforcement that would stop an abortion or a satanic worshiper from using a child from abortion for child sacrifice. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to save the lives of image bearers. And ultimately that cosmic struggle between good and evil. Remember that first good news that God gave is God said, I'm not going to leave Adam and Eve to the devices of the snake. I'm going to promise strife between the seed of the woman and the seed of the snake, but the seed of the woman is ultimately going to prevail. That ancient dragon wants to gobble up as many image bearers as he can, but Christ has crushed the snake's head and will ultimately, and we can do that, be his emissaries here on earth, his ambassadors, by trying to protect these children and give them loving, stable families. And that's one of the other issues that we really try to harp on with the Attorney General's office is that's the chief office that has attorneys, assistant attorney generals that affect children in foster care. So not only do we need to be protecting children in the womb, we need to be advocating as a church for orphans, after they're born that are abused and neglected.
It's interesting you bring that up because I think it's a little known fact, I think, today in the pro-life movement, that we've had a successful pro-life movement already in the United States. Early on, abortifacients were becoming more and more popular, it's becoming a popular industry, and the Christian church rose up. And we distributed materials, we actually hired medical doctors, we made it about the biblical worldview and the gospel, and we defeated a pro-choice movement very early on in our history, and of course in the early church. You're exactly right. From the first century onward, you actually have Christians fighting against abortifacients and abortions early on. This is nothing new to the church in terms of fighting for justice for these fatherless children, but now here we are. And I think what we appreciate about you, Sam, so very much is that you're fighting against this in a consistent way. You aren't trying to regulate abortion in the state of Alabama. You're working to end it once and for all, and that's what you're working towards, to consistently do that. So Sam, tell us, and let's wrap this up here, tell us what can we do, and this is important, all the listeners, let me say this to you right now. If you're checking out in any way, please come back for a moment here. This is important stuff. Because we can talk all day long and put on a charade and put on a mask and pretend like we're fighting against abortion, but if we don't actually put legs on this stuff, nothing happens. So let's ask you, Sam, what can we do to support you in your work in Alabama, becoming Attorney General, and ultimately ending and abolishing and criminalizing abortion in your state? What can we actually do to support you?
Yeah, I think, thank you, Jeff, for asking that. I think the first thing is pray for our elected officials. Just recently in Alabama, we had 4 elected Republicans on a statewide office in the Court of Civil Appeals make a decision, and they said that a minor can kill her child without parental consent. That's just shocking. That should, the Republican Party positions itself as the pro-life party, and yet we have 4 statewide elected judges. So I think, just pray for our elected officials. I pray for, I want to see more pro-life Democrats running for office and really shake that party to its core. What is its identity to speak for the weak? So I think number one is pray for our campaign to be successful. I think you can get on our Facebook page and interact with our social media and share our stuff. And we do Facebook Live videos. We've done Facebook Live videos at abortion clinics, and we're trying to get the message out there that the states no longer need to wait on, they've never needed to wait on this federal court to overturn Roe v. Wade. We have the sovereignty, the authority to protect children from murder, and we don't have to wait on the federal government to overturn Roe v. Wade. And number two, if you're gifted financially, these kind of interviews are huge. They're a big deal, but we need to push out our name recognition to the people that don't tune in to shows like this, so that they can know that the 16 children who lose their life every day in Alabama through abortion, they have an advocate, Lord willing, through our campaign, and by God's grace we'll be successful and we'll be able to protect these children from murder.
Very, very good. And you said the key word there that the legislature needs to hear. It needs to be a moral issue. It needs to be something that makes sense to the legislature. You can't legislate personal preferences. So as long as Christians and pro-lifers don't use the word murder, the legislature has nothing to legislate against. And so you use the right word. We're in full support of you, sir. And I'll just say this one last thing. Where can we point people to in terms of your proposal? It's Proposal 16, correct?
Yeah, Proposal 16 started about the 5th day of Trump's presidency, which was calling on specifically our governor, but really it trickles down to every elected official to use their power, everything within their tool belt to protect children from murder. No longer can we accept the cop-out that, hey, I'm pro-life, but oh gosh, I wish I could do something. That whole nasty Roe v. Wade, that's just a legal myth. Roe v. Wade is not the law of the land any more than a bully's the law of the playground when he asked for the little kid's lunch money. So, Chief Justice Roberts said that the states are sovereign entities. Sometimes they have to act like it. We saw Colorado and Washington and other states do this with marijuana. We just want our elected officials to have at least as much courage to protect children from murder.
That's right. Very, very good. All right, guys, you know what to do. Support this brother. Sam, you're a gift to the church. You're a blessing, and we can't wait to see what God does with your campaign. And we do pray for and hope for the best and your success in abolishing, criminalizing, and ending abortion once and for all in the state of Alabama. So thank you, brother.
Thanks, Jeff. Keep up the good work. Speak for the weak.
Thank you so much, brother. All right, guys, that's Sam McLure, one of the creepiest anti-abortionist men in the country. We'll be right back, guys. Stay with us. Apologia All Access is Apologia Church's opportunity to have a farther reach into the world with our proclamation of the gospel, our defense of the gospel, our engagement of the culture. And I pray, God, today that you would move in a mighty way, Lord God, to open the eyes and hearts of these people and draw them to your Son. So again, it's back to who do we believe, Jesus or Joseph? What it is this. People who are fans of our ministry, who learn from our materials, they partner with us. They join together with Apologia Church. They donate $7.95 a month. And when they donate, they participate with us in ministry, making all of this possible. The studio, our reach into the world, our evangelism, our special television show, our videos, everything that we do to communicate the gospel around the world. We began to go across the island and we saw the cults everywhere. There's a real opportunity to bring the gospel in a powerful way here.
Ultimately, our goal is to create television programming that glorifies Christ in its quality, but can also engage the culture in its conversation.
If I'm a Christian, if I believe in my Lord Jesus Christ, it stays with me in all areas of my life. That means if I'm in business, if I'm in politics, it stays with me. I like you a lot.
With Apologia TV and After Show, we have guests like John Frame, Dr. James White, Ken Ham, and Denny Burke, with more guests added every week. And we discuss relevant news, information, and issues. We cover a wide breadth of topics, everything from abortion to apologetics to cults like Mormonism and Jehovah's Witnesses to biblical theology and Reformed theology.
Foreknew, predestined, justified, glorified, links forged by God in this golden chain.
So when you sign up for All Access, you get the weekly television show, the after show, you get Apologia Academy and all the advanced theological training, and you make all the additional content that we put out possible.
There is evil and suffering in the world. So what? Nothing is ultimately evil in an atheistic worldview. So what?
So the content we're able to put out to reach into the world with the gospel is made possible by you, our All Access partners.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very, very much. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you to our live audience. And I want to point everyone, of course, at the end of this show today to endabortionnow.com. If you haven't gone there, make sure you guys go there. Check out the free resources and free training. And one more thing, you can go there and click on the legislature tab. And when you do, it sends off a message to your local legislature demanding an immediate end to abortion at the state level. So we have a lot of new content coming your way. Keep on the lookout on YouTube, Apologia Studios, and of course on our page here, Apologia Studios on Facebook. New content from our ministry we did in Ireland. They are right now dealing with a difficult thing. They have the 8th Amendment, which actually protects and equalizes the life of the unborn child with the life of the mother. As of right now in Ireland, if you have an abortion, it's a 14-year prison sentence. So they actually have a very just way of looking at this in terms of they treat the unborn child as a human being. And right now, they are trying to repeal the 8th Amendment. So first thing is pray for Ireland. And second thing is let's support all of our Irish brothers and sisters as they work to fight against this monstrosity. While we were in Ireland, we spent a lot of time out there. We heard our feet walking, getting content, and engaging this issue to offer support to the Irish brothers and sisters that are out there, and to tell a larger story about Christians needing to be bold in their culture to speak the truth, to fight against this thing. While we were there, we actually went to a pro-choice march. There were about 30,000 people, pro-choicers, in attendance trying to repeal the 8th Amendment. And we had our wonderful Puddles the dog, who came with us and actually did some on-the-street interviews. Welcome, Puddles the dog.
Puddles the dog here, live from Dublin, Ireland, at the pro-choice rally. They're trying to appeal the 8th Amendment here. As you can see, there's a ton of people, expecting about 30,000 people today. The question I'm asking is, who should have more rights, an animal or a fetus? Are you guys for animal rights as well?
If that's okay.
Okay, have a nice day. Yep, you too. Who do you think should have more rights, a fetus or an animal?
They're very different rights.
Who do you think should have more rights, a fetus or an animal? Who do you think should have more rights, a fetus or a dog? So if I had a pregnant dog at home and I couldn't afford to keep the puppies and I wanted to abort those puppies, you'd be okay with that?
It's about if the dog chose. It's about choice. It's about choice.
Bad choice. If I had a dog that was pregnant with puppies and I wanted to abort those puppies because I couldn't afford to take care of those puppies, should I be allowed to abort those puppies?
That's an interesting question.
Who should have more rights, fetus or an animal?
I'm not answering that question.
So there you go, Puddles the dog in Ireland, everybody. Want to encourage you guys with this wonderful news. We just got word that there were 2 lives saved in Delaware this week, so praise God for that. You can be about the same work with us as we speak prophetically to our legislature and culture. We fight against the culture of death with the biblical worldview and the gospel. You can join us by going to End Abortion Now, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and share the episode. Next week with Jeff Durbin. See you all next week. Thank you guys so much. God bless.